I'll clap.
Hoif.
Hi, I'm Coko.
And I'm Jacob.
And we're existing everywhere.
We live full-time in our 34-foot motorhome that is 23 years old, and we converted it into our cozy home on wheels.
We've been documenting all of our adventures on our Instagram account since the day we bought the motorhome. However, we decided to come to YouTube so that we can give a more in-depth look at our adventures, tutorials about all of our repairs and renovations, and just sharing the general ups and downs and chaos of life on the road. So before we start getting into all of that, we thought we'd come and introduce ourselves first.
I'm Jacob. I'm 26 years old. I was born and raised in Los Angeles. I was playing the piano when I was a kid. I also played ice hockey a lot. I flew out to visit my family in Poland over the summers, which was a really cool experience. Then later on in high school, I started making my own music on the computer, making beats. I also started going to all the local shows in Los Angeles, like Low End Theory, Team Supreme, and that just really put me onto this whole new world of music that's like the LA beat scene and just experimental bass music in general. And so after that, I decided to go to college at Cal State Northridge, get my degree in music industry studies, and ever since then, chasing the dream of being a full-time music producer.
I'm Coko, I'm 25, and I was born and raised in San Diego. As a kid, I loved everything that had to do with the arts. I started playing piano when I was about 6 years old. I loved to sing. I did competitive dance, competitive show choir, and I also competed in a creativity competition all throughout school called Odyssey of the Mind. So when I left high school and went away to college, I also was studying music industry. However, I did not really enjoy the college experience all that much. And after I got an internship through one of my business classes, they offered me a full-time job and I jumped at the opportunity. So I dropped out of school and started working full-time and was living in San Diego, working, hanging out at the beach. And one year in 2016, my friend and I decided that we wanted to check out a music festival. We had never been to one, and there was a popular one upstate called Lightning in a Bottle. So you might be wondering why I'm bringing that up in this introduction video. However, it is important because when we got there, we camped next to a big group of people from Los Angeles, and a couple of them came over to introduce themselves to us and invite us to hang out with them for the weekend, and one of those people was Jacob.
And so on the last day, we woke up and found a piece of toilet paper in our campground that had a phone number written on it, which happened to be them. And since then, we kept in touch, and about a year later, we started dating.
Yeah, so we dated for about a year, long distance-ish between San Diego and LA. And after about a year of dating, my lease was up in San Diego. An opportunity came up to move to LA, so I packed up my things, moved into a little tiny bedroom, and started working 2 jobs in LA so that I could start a new adventure there.
Then a couple months later, we got our first apartment together. I was working at a music school, writing a lot of the educational tags and the lesson plans.
And I was working for a restaurant group, managing 15 different locations throughout Los Angeles County, managing their catering sales and their catering teams at each restaurant. So we were both working full time and we enjoyed our work, but it wasn't what we really wanted for ourselves, which for both of us has always been to be full-time artists.
I would work on my music late at night and play shows on the weekends.
And I had plans to become a professional tattoo artist, was working on my portfolio, and also started taking a yoga teacher training course to become potentially a yoga teacher. But unfortunately, as that course was ending, I started to have really severe pain in one of my hips. And over the next few months, the pain just progressively got worse and worse to the point where I couldn't even focus on art anymore either. So that brings us up to the beginning of 2020. And around that time, we got our second apartment together, which was a gorgeous 2-bedroom. But tell them how much it costs.
$2,000 a month.
We couldn't believe it, but at the time, we're both working full time. It was within our budget, or maybe a little bit at the top of our budget, but it seemed like it would work out for us. But only a month later, COVID hit, LA went into lockdown. Jacob had just switched to a new job and was categorized as an essential worker, so he continued to work throughout the pandemic. But I was furloughed after about a week and went out of work for a few months.
So because of the pandemic, hospitals were not taking any elective procedures. It was impossible for us to schedule an appointment to try to figure out what this pain was, why it was getting progressively worse, how we could stop it, what we could do about it.
Yeah, so it wasn't until June of 2020, a few months after the pandemic started, that I was finally approved to get an MRI. And as soon as I got the MRI results, we all saw that I had 4 herniated discs in my lumbar spine, one of which, the L3, L4, was pressing into my nerve, which was causing me to lose feeling and motion in my right foot. So it felt heavy, my toes didn't really wiggle anymore, and because of that, the doctors decided that I needed to have spinal surgery to remove part of that disc that was pressing on my nerve, to hopefully reverse some of the damage that had been done to my foot and at least stop any further damage. So in July of 2020, I had spinal surgery.
Shortly after that, my coworkers and I were let go because of a labor dispute, and because this was the first time that we were both not working at the same time, we decided to go on a road trip.
Yeah, so about 2 months after I had the surgery, I felt like I was in somewhat good enough shape to go on a road trip, although we basically turned the trunk of my car into a bed so that Jacob could drive and I could just lay in the back. But we went on this gorgeous road trip throughout the Sierra Nevada range, and while we were camping, we came across someone who was living out of a converted ambulance, and it was just like the wildest thing we had ever seen. We really weren't people that followed van life or nomad life or anything like that, so it was pretty out of the ordinary to us and really grabbed our attention.
But here was this guy living in a converted ambulance out in the mountains, in the forest, right next to some beautiful creek, living his life. And we thought, why can't we do that too?
Yeah, we love camping, we love being outside, and honestly, would living in an RV on the road be any more expensive than our $2,000 a month rent? Probably not. So
Yeah,
it
definitely.
seemed like something that could possibly work for us. So when we got back from this road trip, we kind of slowly started looking into what van life or nomad life would entail. We knew, because I was recovering from surgery, that the two of us wouldn't be able to take on a full build for a schoolie or a van together. So RV kind of seemed like the natural place to look.
So we went to the local RV dealership to check out all the different sizes and floor plans that they had to really just figure out what would work best for us before we started looking at the used market to try to buy one.
Yeah, so then I got on Craigslist and slowly worked my way through San Diego, LA, Northern California, Oregon, Nevada, and finally when we got to Arizona Craigslist, sure enough, in Phoenix was our beautiful motorhome just waiting for us to come pick it up.
So we decided to book an RV inspector for the next day. We FaceTimed the owners who gave us a quick tour of everything, and we decided, let's go to Phoenix. And we packed up our stuff and left at 4:30 the next morning and basically let our parents know what the night before.
Yeah.
So we were going to go buy a motorhome.
Yeah, they were pretty surprised, but also supportive. And we drove out there, met the couple, Ed and Bonnie, that owned the motorhome. The RV inspector told us that it was in good shape, pointed out a couple little cosmetic issues that we could fix easily. And with that, we decided we loved it, and we went into the backyard, swapped our cash for the title, and the motorhome was ours.
Yeah. But before they let us go, they had asked us if we had ever driven a rig this big before, and since neither of us have driven a 34-foot motorhome, we said no, of course, and they felt obligated to give us a driving lesson, and he took probably 4 hours out of his day to take us to a local parking lot and just give us all the instructions of how to back in, back out, park.
Look on what side of the lines where the freeway hits the dashboard so you know you're in the middle, like every little thing.
He even took the liberty to show us how well the brakes can really work by just slamming them in the middle of the street.
Brake checked us hard.
Boy, did they work.
Yeah, so once we got back to the house with the motorhome, it was getting dark. They offered for us to stay in their driveway that night, so we did. And then because I had had the back surgery and it had only been, I think, about 2.5 months post-op since then, I couldn't sit upright like I am right now for more than about 20 to 30 minutes. So there was no way I was going to be able to drive our car home while Jacob drove the motorhome. So we ended up getting my dad a flight out to Phoenix the next morning. We stayed in a casino parking lot that night so that we could still be in Phoenix. Picked him up and he drove the car back, and we got in the motorhome and started it driving back to LA.
Then on our way back, we decided to stop for some lunch, thinking, you know, it'd be good to stop for a meal. Why not?
No big deal.
Get back into the motorhome, fire it up. Turns out air conditioner doesn't work. Oh my god, it's like over 100 degrees. What are we gonna do? Well, whatever, we're just gonna hit the road. Hit the road, the turn signals don't work. So we're just like, what do? We just keep going on and sweating bullets, sticking our arms out the windows to, you know, signal
flash
left,
the blinker.
Flash, yeah, so hoping that people wouldn't run into us and stuff.
And eventually the sun started to go down. It was straight in our eyes.
Yeah, we were going west, right into the sun.
Yeah, so at that point we decided to take a break, wait out the sunset, and then after that we got back on the road. We finally made it back to Jacob's parents' house. And from that day forward, we pretty much bounced back and forth between his parents in LA and my parents in San Diego for a couple of months, working on renovations, repairs, and all that other fun stuff that we will be sharing with you in future videos. But for now, we just wanted to say thank you for being here and sharing this space with us. It means a lot to us because we left all of our family and friends home when we hit the road. So we're by ourselves a lot of the time in our comfy home, but always in unfamiliar places.
Yeah.
So it's really special to us to have this area of the internet where we can connect with people that we care about, meet new people, and have that feeling of community that we've kind of lost being by ourselves all the time.
Yeah, it gets lonely on the road sometimes, so it's definitely special to share all the things that we go through and to keep in touch with all of our friends back home.
Yeah, so if you want to see all of the stuff that we've been up to since we bought the motorhome last year, you can check out our Instagram, which is existing_everywhere.
In the description.
We'll also include that Instagram plus our other personal accounts where we document our art in the description of this video. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. We will be putting out new videos covering everything that we've already done and also covering all the things that we're doing from this point forward.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, thanks again, and we'll see you soon. Hi. Nope. Okay. Cool. Oh, fuck.
God fucking damn it.
Tutorials on all of our Revenant. Oh my fucking god.
Okay, so last one.
Fuck me. Okay. Camped next to a big group of.
Oh my god.
Are you fucking kidding me?